If and how Leeds deal with Olivier Giroud will have a massive impact on the way this game goes, because this man is the danger man and he is the man that we cannot afford to let loose on our back four. Hey guys, I'm JT and welcome back to South Stand Stories, where in this video we're going to be going through the upcoming Chelsea fixture. As always, if you could like and subscribe, that would be very much appreciated, and as always, let me know down in the comment section down below who your key players to look out for and what you think the score will be. And let's get into it. As I mentioned in the intro, Olivier Giroud is my man to look out for in this game. It's fair to say we've had our fair share of kryptonite in the past, and Olivier Giroud is no exception to that rule. He is Leeds United's kryptonite. All the areas in which he excels in, we are very deficient in. He's very good aerially, he's very good in the box, he's very good in and around in creating space and exploiting these gaps. And as we use the man-to-man marking system, we do leave a lot of gaps, and his movement, his positioning, his power is all very underrated. I've always seen limitations in his game myself. Like, I look back at the Arsenal team 4 or 5 years ago when Leicester won the league, and I was thinking, maybe if they had a more clinical striker up top, a 20-goal a season striker where Giroud was, maybe Arsenal could have done that. And I've always been very behind the decision that, you know what, they had to let him go to Chelsea in order to get Aubameyang through, and I do think Aubameyang's a lot better player. This is an area in which my dad has always disagreed with me. My dad's a massive Giroud fan. He loves the arts of his play, his touch, his IQ, his flair, just everything about him. He's a very classy player, and my dad's always like that. And I gotta say, I do agree with that. He is a very classy player. But what he also is very intelligent, and people don't necessarily say this about him. They say that he's a bit of a plank, he doesn't really move a lot, but his positioning and the way he can get himself into those spaces and he can command the area around him is a very underrated trait, and one that he excels in profusely. I think we saw that last time we played them. He had Cooper and Koch looking like headless chicken at times, and his experience at the top level really showed. Because although we're a very good team and although we play this great football, there's one thing that we really lack in, and it's that top level experience. One of our most experienced players is Captain Liam Cooper, and he's very good for us for that reason. However, he doesn't have that elite experience, you know, the dealing with the likes of the Rodrigos, the Girouds, the Aubameyang, these Champions League level players. He doesn't necessarily have that experience yet. Robin Koch, who played at the time, was quite young. Struijk, when he plays, is quite young. Llorente, again, on the younger side. These players don't have too much elite experience with that, which I'll say is an area where we can, which is why Giroud tends to exploit these gaps in our side very well. I'm very gutted that we won't have Struijk in. I've checked the news and we're not going to have Struijk for this game. And to be honest, I feel like he could be the one that could help us defend against him, because he's very physical. He gets to the ball first. And he's the one player that I very much liken to Calvin Phillips, in that his positioning is very good. And he knows exactly where to be at the right time. Right place at the right time, making the right interceptions, the right tackles, the right plays. He is that man for us, and he is going to be massive in the future. And missing him tomorrow, it could cause fatal, but I don't think it will. But it will definitely make the challenge a lot harder. Speaking of injuries, Robin Koch is likely to come back somewhat soon. He's had a late fitness test. He's apparently at around 75% fitness. So they don't know if he's going to necessarily feature tomorrow. I don't think he will. And I think it will be another couple of weeks before we can get him back in there. But let me know who you think you should play then. Because say we have Llorente back. Say we have Struijk back. Say we have Koch back. And say we have Cooper back. Who are your two there? I think for me right now, I'm definitely going to go with Koch and Struijk. I want to see more what Llorente can do, and I think Cooper is going to have to be a guy that's probably going to have to drop out for about 50% of the games. But let me know what you think you play. Do you stick with the captain? Look, I love Cooper, man. We all slate him, whatever, this and that. The guy was our captain. He got us promoted to the big time, and for that, I will always respect him. And I heard someone the other day saying, oh, I want him to sit out, you know, just do what's best for the team. And for someone that respects the work he's done so well, I don't want to see that. There's only one way I want to see Cooper being pushed out of this team, and that is fighting with every last ounce of everything he can give. I think he deserves that much. He deserves that much for all the things he's done for us, for the loyalty he showed us, the hard work, the grit, the determination, the passion. He's a champion, and in my eyes, he'll always go out as a champion. for what he's done for us. Offensively, we're still going to be missing Pablo Hernandez, which I'm very gutted about. The guy, for me, is still one of our best players. He's still one of our most creative players and has a hell of a lot to give, especially against these top sides like Chelsea, where we're maybe going to get a bit more time on the ball, a bit more space to express ourselves because they'll come at us a bit more. And I think it's a shame that we're not going to have him at least as an option. But, you know, hopefully he can come back soon at some point. It says there's no return date for him yet. The news broke out around the 8th of March, so it'll probably be another week or so before we get any definitive information on that. But again, no Pablo. For Chelsea, they're going to be without Tammy Abraham, who again, I don't think would really start for them. I think it's going to have to be Giroud for me anyway. If Tuchel knows what he's doing, I think he will start Giroud up top, maybe Werner off the bench or play him off wide. So I don't think the Tammy Abraham miss is going to be too big of a deal. Thiago Silva, on the other hand, for them, he's being assessed right now, and that I think is going to be a massive miss because Thiago Silva has the experience, he has the pedigree at the top level, and he can maybe marshal Bamford out of the game. I think we saw last time, Bamford, of course, did get that great goal right at the beginning of the game, but since then didn't really have too much to work off. He was feeding off scraps at times in that game, and I think Thiago Silva missing could really open the light for us in this game. Look, let's face it, we have been on an absolute rotten patch of form. We've won 2 in our past 7 Premier League games. We've lost the other 5. We don't draw. Look, we either win or we lose. That's Leeds. That's the way we play. And it's really, really not looking good right now. We're really on the down. And we have some very, very tough fixtures. This is the one patch of fixtures that we all looked at the beginning of the season. First with optimism, hoping that we'd have fans in the stadium, so we'd be able to fill out the stadium and go to these games. Now that that's not the case, it's just dreaded absolute pain. And the thing is, we wanted to be coming into this with some wins under our belt so that, you know, if we did drop a few points, it wouldn't be so bad. But we've kind of pushed ourselves into an awkward situation here where we're really on a bad patch of form while points are going down and we need to really pick it up. So a win against Chelsea, although very unlikely, could be very necessary for us moving forward. I think this Chelsea game is probably the easiest out of the few tough games you have coming up. Obviously, you got City, you got Liverpool, and you got Man United. I think the one we're most likely to actually get points out of is Man United, but I do still think that's a harder game than Chelsea. I think if we are going to get some assured points out of this, tomorrow really has to be the time when we start bucking our ideas up and getting these strings together, getting these points, getting these goals scored, because we have had a bit of an issue with that. Obviously, we put 3 past Southampton, but aside from that, we have looked a bit creativeless, shall we say, in front of goal. Lack of imagination at times. And I feel like we really, really need to start bringing these wins together soon. At the end of the day, I can't really complain though, because it's our first year in the Premier League. Anything around the top 10, top half of the table, which we're only 3 points off, 3 points behind Arsenal, for God's sake. That is a very successful year if you look at it objectively. Subjectively, you could maybe say, you know what, I had higher hopes. I thought we could do a bit better. I thought we could maybe push for Europe, which, you know what, I was kind of in that boat. So I can't call these people delusional. But if you are looking at it objectively, it is our first year. We just need to get ourselves secured into the Premier League, and then we can invest and go forward next year. The same way Villa did. But Villa were in a much worse position. They were down at the bottom half of the table. And look at how they've transformed the next year with a couple more additions in the summer. So if we're starting at a higher base, the ceiling could be very, very high for this team. I think it is. What do you think it is? Do you feel confident about our chances moving forward? Do you think like we can get Europe in the next couple years, or do you think it will be a bit longer than that? Do you think we need more investment? Do you rate these Americans, the San Francisco owners? Let me know down in the comment section down below. I'm very interested to hear what you're saying. Maybe you support another side. What do you think of your chances? What do you think your club is doing? Because we look at Everton fans, is this finally their year to get Europe? Villa, is this finally them making their way back up to be a top club? There's a whole load of teams in that equation right now. You look at Wolves, Villa, Leeds, Everton, that are trying to bridge that gap into the top 6. Maybe you support one of those clubs. I'd love to hear what your opinions are in it down below. So I'm going to get into my predicted 1-11, and I think, of course, there's no place else to start but in goal, and it is going to be Meslier. He did make a mistake on the weekend, but I'm not going to be harsh on the guy. Look, anything can happen. Anyone can have this lapse of concentration. The ball comes at you, the slight wrong angle, it bounces off your hands, off your elbows, reflects out. These things can happen in a game. You know what? We can only hope that he learns from this and moves forward to become the top keeper we know he can be. The centre-back partnership will obviously be Llorente and Cooper. I would like to see Struijk in there, as I said before, but obviously I do think it will be Llorente and Cooper. They are our two best centre-backs aside from that. Right back, Ayling, standard. Hopefully he can cause them some problems down the wing. He hasn't done too much offensively recently, and he really does have stuff in his locker. About a week ago, it was the anniversary of that rocket he scored against Huddersfield, and I'm still waiting for him to unleash one of those rockets in the Premier League. I know he can do it, but it's just a matter of him getting it out at the right time, and tomorrow is the right time if you ask me. What a time it would be to score his first Premier League goal against Chelsea, against a fellow London club. You know, he started off at Arsenal. Maybe there's a bit of rivalry there. Who knows? A left back for me is going to be Alioski, because I want to see Stuart Dallas in that central midfield role, but also because Alioski is an absolute shithouse and I want to see him rattle some of those Chelsea players up. Holding midfield is going to be the main man, Calvin Phillips. No questions asked there. I don't think I need to go into any more detail on that. Midfield 2, I know Rodrigo's back. I think I'm still going to leave him on the bench for now, and I'm going to go for Klitsch and Dallas. Let me know if you would start Rodrigo already. I personally want to see what Dallas can do starting in that midfield role, because he has been very good recently playing in that midfield role. Obviously, he's come there recently, starting a left back and then moving forward sometimes, but I want to see what he can do starting in that midfield role against the likes of Jorginho, Kante and possibly Kovacic. Left wing for me is going to be Costa. I went for Harrison last week, but then Costa, you know what? He did impress me last week against West Ham. So I do think he's earned himself that left wing spot. Other wing, Raphinha, no questions asked. And up top, King Paddy Bamford. He scored against Chelsea last time. Can he do it again? I certainly hope he can. Scoring against his former employers, that would be brilliant, wouldn't it? It's just always good to see him score against those sides that, you know, told him he wasn't good enough. Especially Chelsea, where he started his career. So if he can slam them up again, that would be brilliant. Anyways, thank you for watching. We can only hope we can get a good result tomorrow. Let me know down below what your team's doing. Who are your teams playing? Are you a Chelsea fan? Are you a Leeds fan? Are you a Southampton fan? Are you an Arsenal fan? What are you? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Let's have a nice conversation about this upcoming week's fixtures. And I'll hope to see you after, hopefully with 3 points in the bag. But you know what? It's probably more likely to say maybe we could steal 1. Anyway, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.